Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you're not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by 10th Man, Refracted Curvature, Eli, the Adam Meakin, Arwin, Chocolate Saying, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good day,
Hello,
good day.
hello. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Yo, yo.
Hello, hello. If you're watching this on a premiering stream, this is also the after show, in case you're wondering why it's just started with a live introduction. For the last week since updating OBS, it crashes every single time I start a live show. It drives me nuts. So rather than the tail end of the recording carrying on into the live show now, it's just live and after show, and I have to do double the amount of work to publish it. There we go, then my moans right at the beginning of a live show. Sorry to do that to you all. Please share the show, smash the super chat to support this channel. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
If Earth had curve to it, you couldn't acquire an elevation angle.
Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
No, because then they would not take an imaginary horizontal plane and take elevation angles from there.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
You got it on the screen right now. There's a globe with an arrow pointing to which way it turns, so therefore the globe turns that way. Yes.
That would shorten the flight times of aeroplanes, and the hot air balloon in the same picture would have Earth turning underneath it. So if you were on an aeroplane or a hot air balloon, you'd only have to launch off the ground and Earth would turn underneath you. That doesn't happen.
Hey, you're just getting hung up on details.
My bad. Yeah, there is no drift. The claim of Earth-based Coriolis effect is nonsense. And evidence of the R value, Earth radius.
You'll have to measure a flat plane before you can calculate a radius.
The globe Earth model was derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope. They don't know what it is.
What gravity is or what science is? Or both?
Both.
Well,
As
they
to
don't
what it is?
they don't apply the scientific method, right?
Just ruined a perfectly good
probably
Neil
know
deGrasse
what it
Tyson
is.
quote.
Ruined it.
Ruined it. Totally.
And it was.
Perfectly timed. The tone was there. The timbre was perfect. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Yeah, it happens, I know.
It sounded exactly like it. Like, it was like, oh my gosh.
It was like Neil deGrasse Tyson was in the room with us, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was channeling my inner Neil deGrasse.
Who said Neil? Somebody call me?
No, Neil, but you are off mute.
Neil is letting air out the dome.
I was just going to say something like that.
Perfect timing. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon? Hey, Neil, ruining this housekeeping question with your
I was
wishy-wishy.
going to answer. It's a dome.
Someone's pissed off.
Prove your dome. Containment, yes, dome.
Neil is at the dome. That's why the gas is escaping. It's moving in all directions into outer space.
Quick, get the duct tape.
Stick a finger in it.
I got a whole box of it here.
No, seriously though, any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
That would debunk
Negative.
the definition of gas pressure.
Well, the only solution is to claim that the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth.
That's a quote from the Rumpus. The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth. End quote, the Rumpus. It doesn't apply to his model of Earth. That would be a sphere Earth model, because if it did, then we'd all be dead because the gas would fill the availability of the volume they call outer space. Space, outer space, is fake. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill that space, because gas expands in all directions to fill the availability of volume it has.
Right. So it should actually be refined, right? It doesn't apply to the Earth, no. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the atmosphere.
Yes, it doesn't apply to the atmosphere, sphere-shaped air oxymoron, because air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, it takes the shape of its containment. They have air arbitrarily ascribed to a sphere-shaped, with all sorts of laws around it and gravity and all sorts of other crazy notions, to get gas to go down, go boom boom and form layers, when gas is an inhomogeneous anisotropic mixture and does not form layers and does not go down, go boom boom, like solids moving through gas or liquids moving through gas. Gas expands in all directions. Outer space is fake.
But if you treat gas like it's a fluid and then just think, oh, wait, that means it's a liquid, then if you apply the Newtonian gravity model, then you no longer need to account for gas moving in all directions, because gases don't exist anymore. It's a fluid now, just like a liquid.
Right. Well, those steps have been taken by people like Thunderfoot Clown when they assert exactly that. The gas behaves like a fluid and goes down, go boom, boom, like bouncy balls. Here's an example. Here, watch my bouncy balls go down, go boom, boom through air. Meanwhile, the air itself has expanded in all directions to fill any availability of volume it had to fill, and will continue to do so as long as it has availability of volume. It's called entropy. But they have to violate that law with a few assumptions that end up in them declaring that gas goes down, but like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank.
But to get gas to act like a fluid, first you need to contain it, right?
That's correct. If you want to describe it as a fluid, then you're going to have to compress it to the point where it's going to behave like a liquid, i.e. under very unusual circumstances. But it's still going to require a containment. It's a gas.
One of the main definitions for a fluid is that it takes the shape of its container.
Right. But they don't.
And so if we're covered by a
designate-
dome, we literally do have an atmosphere.
But they don't designate.
So check it out. Check it
gas
out.
like
Check
a
out.
fluid.
Check out our flat Earth affirming the consequent fallacy. If we have a dome, begging the question, then air will take the shape of a hemisphere. What's next? Air does take the shape of a hemisphere, therefore we have a dome.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, though, wouldn't it? With a begging the question fallacy to start off with, that we've got a dome.
We do.
No, we don't. That's just you begging the question. We've got containment.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's a dome.
You think it's a
I
dome.
think it's a
That's
giant
lovely.
sphere.
That's nice. You believe in that dome all you like.
What if it's a big square?
What if what? The containment?
Yeah, I
It
don't
could be
think
anything.
it's square because we don't see that.
We don't see a dome
No,
either.
Do we see the dome?
No, but we see a physical. We actually see an arc. We see an arch.
No, our field of
So-
vision is an arc.
True.
Well, that's not seeing a dome. Jaren once described our
All right.
vision, the view that we get, as our own personal viewing dome. So from that description, that's how you're ascribing the dome of the heavens to a physical artifact that we could go and
Okay.
explore. We can't. Or not that I know, or not that we have.
I'm having trouble following this. Will someone please dome it down?
I'll try and dome it down as much as I can. We haven't got anything beyond containment.
We need to dome
All I
it
can say
down.
is thank God this
for the
weather's
army.
changing because I'm going fishing.
There was no pun in that statement. Get out.
That was the best line of the day. What are you talking about?
Hey, here's
The
a
best
fun.
line of the day. That was great.
I deleted
Yeah,
every single
We're trying
server
to
I'm
dome
on
it down
except
for the
this one.
public audience.
Look, he's still on the hook for a dome pun.
Chocolate was real good.
attempt, man. Your power level's getting up there, bro, with the puns.
Any evidence
I
of
would
the
love to go
distance?
fishing with you one day.
Any
That'd be
evidence?
fun. 2 old guys.
I missed that because I was asking for distance to the sun. Go ahead again one more time, Harp.
I was just saying I'd love to
I
go
didn't
fishing
catch
with
that,
you.
son.
I said
Nobody's
no
catching
one
anything.
try to
Everybody needs to
tackle
be
me.
quiet.
Nobody's catching anything if they keep talking over me, right? That's
Go
why
ahead,
I
Bob.
quit.
Good catch.
Like 5 servers last night.
Catch is part of
Deleted
the
everything
fun.
Oh,
and
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. I'll try again, Eli.
King of Kings.
God. I'm sorry, Harp. They're alluring to
All I did
themselves.
was
What can I
I
do?
said, it'd be really cool one day we go fishing.
Well, perhaps one day.
Did you
can
say
lure
they're
us in.
allured to themselves?
Perhaps one day you can lure
Well.
us in.
Okay, this is
I don't know
spilled
how you
right
can
off
do
the
this
reel
shit
now.
day after day.
Let's get back on housekeeping. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Whoa. I'm sorry.
Yes, you should be.
All right, I'm done.
No, you're not, because you're saying you're done.
Any evidence of a dome?
Seared. Well.
Oh God. Can everyone just get the punning out of their system so I can ask for distance to the sun and actually get an answer?
I blame Tenth.
This show's already going off the scales.
Anybody else want to weigh in?
No.
Good one.
Just need someone to say it was this big. The distance to the sun, that is.
It's 3 AU.
3 AU.
That was a good one, Nathan.
I was looking at it yesterday. It's right there. I'm looking at it right now. It's like right there.
This question never
If you
lures
take-
anybody in.
If you take angle measurements, right, then you can apply an R value to them to get a consistent distance.
Why would you take a R value and apply that to the measurement between 2 straight lines? That's weird.
I think he was translating for his little kid that was talking in the background.
Hey,
It's the little kid.
I'll check those things for you. Have we done all the housekeeping? I think we have.
No, molten iron core.
Right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
how
I don't
could
like the
we
way you're
forget?
housekeeping.
How could we
I don't like the way
forget?
you've been treating the housekeeping lately. It's like, did we do it? And you're done with housekeeping? It's like we're throwing it to the side. I don't like it.
Well, I'm sorry, Neil. We're about to wrap it up with the final question. If you'd ever shut up about it. No follow-on
Okay, so
joke.
you're done with the housekeeping?
No, any evidence of
I
a
lost.
self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Done.
That's just ridiculous.
Obviously stupid as shit.
Yeah, what Hop
People
said is better.
What people believe, man, it's amazing.
Well, the belief is now spun around, hasn't it, over the last 7 years? It's gone from, you believe in a flat Earth, prove your dome, prove your ice wall, prove your flat Earth model pizza pie, prove that boats don't fall off the edge of a sphere. My bad, force of habit.
Right.
Fall off the edge of a flat plane. Yeah, I've got so used to pointing out that their boats fall over their sphere. That just fell out when I was trying to summarise the crap that us flat earthers had to justify 7 years ago. Anyway, now their belief is in a sphere. And the only way they can get it to work with celestial navigation is by begging the question of a tangent point we debunked 2 years ago, and then using the flat plane they've slapped on top of it. So they're definitely using a flat plane. They call it a tangent plane. So they're having to argue in our paradigm and explain and justify their belief in a tangent to a sphere that isn't being used in celestial navigation. It's their belief now. Things have changed. It's 180 degrees turnabout in terms of how the attitude presents itself, in my eyes, to this subject. We're the ones
Take a
sitting
look at
pretty.
this.
Say again, Neil.
Take a look at this. How can this be a ball? I'm on the 7th floor looking out at 10th Avenue. There's the water, buildings, as far as the eye can see. It's an impossibility that this thing that they built on is round or spherical. It's an impossibility.
None of those
Look at
buildings.
that.
None of those buildings are leaning forward, like as you go around that curve. No leaning.
Straight and flat.
Seriously? I mean, you should see the leaning. I guess not.
They have an answer for that, though, right, Nathan? For the leaning buildings?
Well, they just say it's a very small amount.
Well, the thing is, with skyscrapers, they're made to lean. They're literally made to fucking lean back and forth with the wind. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
never get that.
Empire.
They
Well,
sway, right?
I would say that normally, like when I show people pictures like the ones in your video, like a skyline, I just tell them to imagine actually being there on the ground while also holding the image of, or the idea that the earth is curving from you 8 inches per mile squared. It's like looking at it from whatever vantage point it was taken with the camera, but then imagining yourself standing there. None of that is curved. It doesn't look curved. You could see it just because you have this now high vantage point from the camera's view. Does it? I mean, it looks as flat can be.
What do you mean? I'm up 30,000 feet and there's a 3-degree drop. So that's got to be because of a curve, right?
You're talking about the buildings. There should be 3 degrees visible on the
No,
buildings.
on the Earth, there's a 3-degree. All of a sudden, you know, it's not eye level; it's dropping down. So that must be because of the curve. That's what they say. A dip.
Oh, you're talking about eye level correction dip.
Yeah, I'm talking about all these airplane pictures that they want to give you and show you a curve, tell you that it's dipping and showing you a level line, and the horizon is not at your eye level, which it never was. Maybe it is when you're on the ground looking out. But the higher you get, it's obviously going to drop.
Okay. Hold on, Eli. Just one sec.
I don't know.
Eli, just one sec. Brian, are you there?
Yeah.
Brian? No, just gone up the way. I'm going to go and get myself some bread. Okay, Brian. We'll see you in a bit.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
All the Irish are over in the UK at the moment, Nate.
Okay, Brian. So what Harp's highlighting is that he goes up a mountain and can see that the horizon has dropped to his vantage point, right? And therefore, that's Earth curve. And I just wanted you to address him in terms of actual height of eye correction versus globe, Earth, bastardization to a geometric horizon. Can you do that for me, Brian? Thanks. If you want to. You don't have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are you talking about the height of eye? Do you want me to talk about the height of eye correction, or?
Well, what's being posed is that once you go up a mountain and see that in a HUD or a heads-up display, you can say, here you go, look, the horizon's below my eye line.
Well,
there you go.
What that is that the actual horizon, which is a visible location, we know, but it involves the surface of Earth, whether it be water or land or whatever. And as you go higher, let's say you're 500 feet above the water, looking out over an ocean, then your eye line will be what they call kind of a term that's used is a celestial horizon or whatever, or let's call it the eye line horizon. But your eye line is making an absolute parallel with the surface of the water and Earth underneath you. That's what's going on. It's making a parallel with mean sea level, basically. That's what's going on. So the higher you go, then the further out from you, your horizon will stretch. But the higher you go, the angle between your eye line and the horizon, even if it stretches out, will increase, because you're taking a parallel line, which is your eye line, which is parallel with the horizon when you're standing at the shoreline, and you're just increasing the distance between those two parallel lines. That's all you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, in terms of a much more detailed explanation of this, because I wanted the concise version, which is what you've just given me. Thank you very much. Life is Short, several years ago, went into this with myself, Red Pill Philosophy and Ranty Flat Earth at the time. He's now called Fleur Perspective. But that particular show detailed how we have a relationship in terms of our eye with the horizon. Now, in spite of what Brian's just said, There was an overriding conclusion, which is that to all intents and purposes, it doesn't alter the fact that that statement does still stand true. The horizon does rise with you. As you go up, it gets further out, and you can induce a minor dip based on the height above the actual plane you're looking over. However, it still rises up with you as you go higher.
On screen, your new slides got Aries discs. Very nice.
Did you make this?
No, on your slideshow, it's just gone. We got the girth back now. But you had the three nice Aries disc slides showing the point of where we're able to resolve. And quite a nice point. And that's part of the function. Part of where that horizon is going to resolve is due to how our eyes resolve it based on the atmospherics and what and how far we can see. That's part of. There is a slight adjustment, but fundamentally it does stay with you. There's tweakings which they'd like to put in and reaffirm as geometry, but fundamentally it doesn't match, does it? As Black Swan demonstrates, that's the killer for all of this. You might be able to go up a mountain and get something to match some mathematics, but it requires the positive claim that the horizon is the leading edge of a ball.
And it isn't.
Hilbers say, I have no problem with the Black Swan, refraction. That's what you get.
Yeah, until you need
so incredible.
Until you need a straight line. Yeah, until you need a straight line. I'm cool with the Black Swan. That would be all lines being bent until you need to measure an angle. Now, if you're going to correct that angle, i.e. dip correction, which is where you started your original question. Shout out to the 100 people watching. Woo, woo, woo. Please share the show. Thank you for sharing if you haven't already.
I can't believe
Go on, Adam.
that one's up.
What one?
I was unmuted. Yeah, thank God that picture's changed. It was.
I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, it's your slideshow's entertaining me, Nathan. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're distracted by the slideshow. Bloody hellfire. They're supposed to be in the background, like only relevant once in 100 times a part of a conversation. Maybe if I've judged it right, it'll be relevant once in 50 times. It'll tie up, coincidentally we'll have the right image on screen. But Adam's like, yeah, that image 3 images ago. That matches the point I'm about to make now.
I've just realised I'm running. The show's running a few minutes behind. That's what because I always have it on mute, so I can't tell. So I'll just shut up. I'll mute and stop.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on, but I don't know why it's going on. Ugh.
It's time change. This is what happens when they start changing the time. Everybody
Can't
gets all
change
screwed
time.
up
Time's just a concept.
Right. And here in the Bible, it says literally these sons of bitches will change time.
It does not say these literal sons of bitches will change time in the Bible. That's just not true.
Well, it doesn't say that. No, I always paraphrase.
So when you said literally, you meant I've just made this up.
No, it does say that if they can, they will change time.
Ah, yeah, I don't doubt it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
They've done it.
Yeah, they have.
I changed it by 1 hour.
Yeah.
You
changed time completely, though.
You wound your watch
there
on.
should be 13 months in a year, and they should be lunar.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
everything's
my
completely.
stove clock, my microwave and stove clock were behind 1 hour, so I had to change it.
You should never have a full moon in the middle of a month. Okay?
Meantime, if the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles p, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet cubed.
Is it that?
No, every distance to horizon measurement should be 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. But in reality, the distance to horizon in the Black Swan is beyond those geometric limitations. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve, as demonstrated in this picture from National Geographic. Your tangent point to the horizon forms the geometric leading edge of Earth curve. Your sphere edge tangent point we debunk with the Black Swan. You haven't got this straight line to obscure a boat with a physical sphere edge anymore. It's been debunked. It's beyond the limitations. This physical point can't put itself beyond the boat. That's not how the geometry works. Geometry is the rock of the Earth being a sphere, moving, as in this depiction, to a point beyond what it's supposed to be obscuring. Well, it's not a physical obstruction then. That's the point. So when they said refracted, took 2 years. I think it's starting to drop now. They need a straight line, by the way. They're starting to understand the problem. When they say refracted, they haven't got any geometry to assert anymore. No straight line to use to correct for dip. What do you mean correct for dip? You haven't got a straight line. What are you correcting for? Oh, well, that's refraction. No, it's dip correction. You might have some celestial refraction to have to account for if you get below 15, 10 degrees, whatever it is. But that is not the geometry's concern. That's just straight lines that you've got to have. What's that, refracted? Where're you going to get this straight line from? Oh, I'm good with the black swan, says our opponent when we pose that question to him. Well, being good with the black swan isn't having this straight line to a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, tangent point to Earth curve. That physically moves with the weather, so it ain't physical. Black swan.
Maybe what they meant when they say they're good with the black swan is they've not considered the logical implications of the black swan, so it doesn't bother them.
When we first did the black swan, I remember QE saying, waiting at the top of the mountain for Alberuni was a militarized black swan. He can do all that, but when he gets there, he's still got to deal with that realization that horizon is not Earth curve. As much as they wanted to do, and as much as they want to correlate some observations to it, the black swan demonstrates it is fundamentally not. It cannot be.
Okay, that's definitely got to be worth somebody out in the audience storyboarding. So you've got Alberuni, he's whistling along and he walks and he goes, "Way, there's the mountain I'm going to use," right? And then he goes, "Well, obviously I've got to take a couple of elevation angles and do a bit of trig off this flat plane we're standing on." So then he does it with his flat plane measurement. And then he meets a magical magician. And the magician looks at him and says, "Look into my eyes, not around the eyes. Look into my eyes. You did not just measure an elevation angle off a flat surface to get the height of the mountain. Now go forth and get a radius from the curved surface. Not flat to get the height. It was curved, remember? Not around the eyes, look into the eyes. And you're back in the room. Off you go, Baruni, up the mountain." So Alberuni climbs up the mountain, and what does he meet when he gets there? A militarized black swan, saying, "Refraction!" And then we need a catchy tune, like Glow Birth Sniper. Glow Birth Sniper. I can see you're all enthralled by this storyboard idea. I shall drop it immediately. Moving on to 10th man slides.
Ah,
I have something to present as well, Nathan.
Okay. Well, I'm waiting on 10th. If it is 10th,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
posted
here.
this.
I'm here.
Is it you that posted this umbrella-looking thing?
Yeah. Well, that tangent plane that they always need to get angle measurements from the surface of a curved Earth. Well, it can't work off a curved baseline, so they always carry a flat Earth and like a folding table, open it up whenever they want to use the sextant and say, okay, to traverse the Earth and no navigation and nautical mile distances and GPS, I got to open up this flat Earth table and take my measurement as if I was on the flat plane. Fold it back up and say, okay, I'm actually on the globe, because that's what they told me in school. That's what they showed me in school. And the next slide shows exactly how it's done, that flat plane. You can put anything under it. Put a banana under it, a dingleberry, whatever. Doesn't matter. When you go to use the sextant, it's an angle measuring device. And an angle is two lines or rays, whichever way you want it, meeting at a common point, creating a vertex. There's no way around that.
So just for the anti-flat earthers out there, we will get to you in a second, Brian. This bit. Why is it you keep telling us how you do it on this bit? I know that you're saying this bit's still obviously got this bit underneath it, but the way you're doing it is on this grey square. That's how it's done, right? So the surface that you're going to negotiate is 90 degrees at the GP of the star on a flat plane. That's what's done. We all understand that. That's why you have to put the same exact flat plane, teeter-tottering at a tangent point, mark T, on a sphere that isn't used. So why do you keep presenting this to us? Why do you keep begging us to use our flat plane slapped on top of your sphere that isn't used? You've got to stop doing that, lads. You've got to start telling us how you use the curved surface, not how you slap a big flat square, flat plane on top of your sphere and tell us that it's done on that. According to Ruhif, as big as you like. This can be infinitely big. So why do you keep slapping an infinitely big flat plane on top of your sphere that you're not using? This isn't going to fly anymore, lads. Just letting you know. Stop telling us how you use a flat plane on a sphere. Just use the sphere. Yeah? Yeah, what's that? You can't measure an elevation angle? Yeah, we know. Earth is flat and celestial navigation proves it. You cannot measure an elevation angle. That would be this line off a curved surface. The elevation angle requires that the base line is flat. And that's precisely how we all do it. You just say that that flat surface we're negotiating and measuring. I'll say that one more time. We're measuring this bit, the flat plane bit, the bit you think is attached by tangent point to a not useful sphere beneath. Yeah, that bit's just a belief that isn't used, but we're going to start charging you with actually using it to navigate on. Yeah, rather than this bit, and getting the angles from this bit to start moving forward on this bit. No measurement of angles from this bit. That's not the land you think you're standing on. What's that I hear Ruhify cry? What's that, Ruhify? When you're talking about measuring these angles, you're not talking about the surface of Earth when you talk about a tangent plane. Yeah, but that's what you're negotiating. We know you're not talking about this surface, and that's my point. You better start talking about it, Ruhify. Start talking about your globe Earth surface that you're negotiating when you navigate with planar trig and flat planes and a tangent that's been debunked in 2020. Right, Brian, what you got?
Just give me a minute, Nathan. I'll be a couple of minutes. Sorry, something's after messing up here on the computer.
Oh, okie dokie.
I put one more slide up there, Nathan.
I had Neil first. Go ahead, Neil.
Go ahead, Neil. Go ahead, Neil.
I said I put one more slide up. That could have been me. I'm not sure.
No, it was Neil.
Oh, I thought I was off mute. Don't say that.
Okay.
It was me that spoke, not Neil.
Okay, I've got your last slide up 10th, and then we'll move over to Brian because he's hopefully had a couple of minutes by then.
Well, I'll let Adam go. You can comment on the slide. They're always showing a flat surface when taking an angle measurement with the sextant. So this, I don't know why they do that if they live on a curved surface. Why they need to have a plane every time they want to navigate?
Because Earth's a plane. This is our proof of it. And when they try and use this methodology of navigating with the sextant or celestial navigation, they're going to be doing that on a flat plane. The fact that they stick it teeter-tottering on top of a sphere doesn't make it a sphere. It means they've got a redundant belief in a sphere below this actual flat plane that they're going to be negotiating. Did you want to say something, One Deck, or are you just hot micing?
I want to say it's not a redundant belief. It's a contradictory belief.
One Deck. Oh, he's done it. Right, Brian.
I'm not ready. A couple of minutes. Sorry. A couple of minutes. I'll be with you. Sorry.
Go on, then let me read Ruthie's response.
I got a weird thing I noticed today. So I'm always telling everybody, if you look on your phone and you go into the weather area, get to the visibility, it tells you can see 10 miles. I always raise this question, how the hell are you seeing 10 miles? So today, it's clear, beautiful out, right? I looked in the thing, telling me I can only see 7 miles. Now, how the hell did they change that from 10 to 7 when it's clear out? You've been listening to me. This is the thing. Phones listen to you, and then they change it. Oh, no, you really can't see 10. It's 7. This literally, seriously happened to me. Telling me right now that I can only see 7 miles, not 10. Like every other day for the past 5 years looking at this phone. Isn't that kind of weird?
Yes.
It is, indeed. There's a dome. And there's a...
God. Okay, don't push your luck. Adam, you said you got a response from Ruthie. Go ahead.
It's just in relation, I think you watched QE Live last night, and yesterday we had this diagram that you brought to the table, sticking that YouTube video out. So we responded to it last night, and Rufy had acknowledged it was not a particularly good diagram, but just to read his explanation, which seems to imply that I don't know this, I don't know what their model's claiming, but it's nice to have him clarify it. He doesn't use infinity, but he wants to quantify it. So yay for acknowledging the error about confusing the zenith of the observer with the line of sight to the star. That may be pointing out that parallel lines don't meet. You seem to be having difficulty in accepting that the line of sight to the star is parallel to the line from the GP to the star. Why is that? You're supposed to be the mathematician on the panel, right? Even the closest star is something like 40 trillion kilometers away. So even if your observer and GP are a few thousand kilometers apart, that is utterly insignificant in comparison. You think a billionth of a degree is going to make a difference? I've only responded briefly with 40 trillion, you say. But there is the assumption within it. Like I said, I use the term infinity. They are using infinity. They'd like to put on them. But this is the point. To resolve the geometric mismatch of what they're doing, to overcome the fact that we aren't having triangles, we've got parallel lines. But if they're so far away, they do meet. And he seems to be doubling down on this. Not using triangles there. It's using parallel lines now.
So when he says using parallel lines, the line that he's measuring isn't the line of sight to the star then? Because the line of sight to the star doesn't represent the line to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, regardless of how minuscule he claims this error is. He's got parallel lines that converge, correct? Why have we assumed that the line of sight to a star runs parallel to another line of sight that runs to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, so that angle, which would be the accurate angle, the one taken from the centre, matches the inaccurate angle that we're actually measuring? Why would we make that assumption, Rufy? I'd just measure an angle. In fact, that's what they do in celestial navigation, is it not, Adam? They just measure the angle. Further to that, how do you get that elevation angle from a curved baseline?
So
can I answer? Because it wasn't rhetorical. Shout out to Super Tom who says this super chat's for everyone who gets triggered by super chats. Thank you very much for the support. And I suppose thank you for triggering people who don't like super chats. I definitely do. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it wasn't rhetorical. If someone wants to answer how he gets an elevation angle measurement from a curved Earth, I'm all ears.
He doesn't. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Or he does and he's lying.
There's three things. He doesn't what?
He doesn't get an elevation angle from curved surface.
He doesn't get an elevation angle measurement from a curved Earth? No, he does not. But yet he seems to think he's got a tangent to a curved Earth, and then when he does that tangent plane, it doesn't bear any relation to the ground. No. Celestial navigation just uses a flat plane, makes no account for any parallel lines coming from any stars. You just measure the angle to them and then get 90 degrees to the surface you are standing on, which is where you got your baseline. Now, I ask again, how do you get an elevation angle measurement, that's a physical reality measurement, from a curved Earth? You don't. Earth must be flat. Celestial navigation and the elevation angle measurement required to do so proves Earth is and can only be flat.
That's correct, Nathan. Well said.
Please share the show. Smash the super chat to support the channel. They got nothing. You're getting loads of messages from triggered ballers, as am I, comments, not messages. But they've increased in numbers. So I've got disproportionately high comment to view ratio at the moment. Why? Because there's a lot of triggered ballers who want to beg us for a flat plane. My bad, ballers, my bad. beggars for a tangent plane. Where'd you get that tangent from? I remember asking Craig that when he got here and started talking about tangent planes in the midst of the Black Swan argument. Started telling me all about tangent planes then, didn't he? And I started asking where he got that tangent. Very quickly descended into a lot of fundy muting. Didn't it, Craig? Where'd you get that tangent, I asked. You don't. You haven't got a physical sphere edge tangent point for a horizon anymore. We took that away in 2020. So what's that? You got a tangent? No, you haven't. Plane? Yeah. Plane. Yeah, that's what you'll be dealing with. Yeah, you're going to stop that. You're going to knock that on the head, lads. You're supposed to be proving that the surface is spherical. Don't tell us how the tangent plane you're using when you do celestial navigation doesn't relate to your ground. Get us something that does. Chop, chop. I estimate that'll increase my comments by about 10%, by the way, that little splurb.
Yeah, that's an impossibility. They can't, Nathan. You know it. Keep digging that knife in, though.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. It's driving them nuts. And they're scrambling to try and appeal to us to do some challenges that don't involve actual celestial navigation, involve parameters that have been taken from a flat Earth that then use spherical trig that we're not allowed to use. It's like, what are you talking about? You've derived some flat Earth mathematics into a sphere and then taken some spherical trig coordinates to put together a challenge and then said that all of the things that relate to the Earth, that would be star charts and the like, aren't allowed to be used because they're actually globe. Those are ours. Oh, really? Is that what you thought? Just a quick shout out to my own video. Might as well monetize it in the same way that others try and monetize their attempts to prove a sphere when there's 3 Bitcoin on the table. If you think you've got a globe proof, McToon. Yeah, come here and claim 3 Bitcoin with this only possible on a sphere challenge that actually required flat Earth elevation angle measurements in the first instance, as we have been saying for about 6 straight weeks. Now, if you want to check out the full dissection of this by Brian, Adam and myself and a few others on yesterday's show, currently members only, then I trimmed it out and put it up as a members only video with a 45-second link into it. So the 45-second bit you can go and check out as it's a literal less than 60-second summary of what I've just said. Flat Earth angle measurements required, McToon. Is this not sinking in? Is 6 weeks of us saying it just going to have head in the sand as a result, with you coming to my comments dictating to my commenters how long they've had to solve your challenge? Yet we've responded to it. Am I going to have to slow this down? Is McToon a bit slow? I mean, I'm asking in all seriousness, do I have to slow down my speech pattern for him to understand that for him to set his challenge, he required flat Earth elevation angle measurements, and those same measurements were developed into his globe model? Now, because he's got a model that's referencing these star charts, doesn't make the star charts globe-only models. No. Unfortunately not. They too require elevation angle measurements. That means they too require and depend on Earth being flat. I mean, it's only been 6 weeks of us saying this for me to summarise it in such a concise manner with such a smug grin. You're gonna need a flat Earth, McToon. Are you listening?
That's sad. If that's the best they got, that's sad.
Nathan, did you say spherical trig?
I did.
What's trigonometry?
Study of triangles. You're saying spherical trig's an oxymoron, right?
Yeah, a sphere is a sphere, and trigonometry is triangles, so it doesn't make sense to me. What are they talking about?
They're talking about spherical triangles, which is an oxymoron. If QE was here, he'd be patting you on the back right now.
No. There is a branch of mathematics called spherical trigonometry. It is therefore dealing with how curved surfaces interact with straight lines. It is a science. It's something, look, that a week or so ago, we went through the paper where they tried to do the celestial navigation calculations with spherical trig. And there was the admission that all you've got is this modern approximation, which would be too convoluted to do at any practical level at any point.
Take hours.
Yeah.
The one that would take hours and hours. Oh, I got it.
Yeah. So.
Okay, I hope that cleared that up. Meanwhile, John, can you summarise what I've just said in terms of the flat Earth being required in order to lay down any of these challenges? Because we've been saying it. I've been saying it for 6 straight weeks, and I'm still getting comments saying, "You're going to address this 10k challenge?" I'm like, yeah, we're owed 10k.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. That really, whoever goes over there and makes the statement that before he can invoke his spherical geometry, he'll have to measure it off a flat plane. He should pay at that point.
Dun 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 dun.
You're terrible, Nathan. Keep doing it.
Yeah, these people are idiots. They'd rather stick their head in the sand. I mean, for plausible deniability, he came just before the end of a live show and dropped just before the after show started. And then crying foul and claiming that he'd been here. You're like, you having me on?
Didn't Brian read us the terms of this supposed challenge? And they were all heavy-sided on Mattoon, to where no one's ever going to win this challenge because of the way he's going to go about validating the claim.
Maybe.
But he can't enter into the challenge.
No, I agree with you. So it's over right at the beginning.
It's more akin to, and again, I'm speaking to you, John. Do you remember when you invalidated a whole shit ton of paradoxes all in one go?
Yeah.
This is the same. Essentially, the challenge itself, in terms of the terms and conditions that would have to be fulfilled in order to acquire the 10k under the terms and conditions, with the adjudication of whoever he instructs to do so, if there's any quarrel with what he decides, ultimately speaking. At that point, his challenge has to have been gone through all of those motions for him to say, yeah, here's your 10k. Whereas what we're doing isn't exactly fulfilling those prerequisite requirements to get 10k. So when we say you owe me 10k, it's farcical. We're invalidating the challenge based on its premise that it required a flat Earth to get the elevation angle measurements first. Step 1. Therefore, any process that's described in any methodology would ultimately require a flat Earth to do so. But am I going to go through the steps and motions of actually plugging those numbers in and showing how the conversions from a flat Earth and elevation angle measurement to a sphere for his inference that star charts are therefore they're all global? Well, no. Pull that apart and then put it into what a method he's used in order to devise the challenge, which is presumably spherical trigonometry, which he's saying you can't use. So he's set it up in a manner that couldn't be one, as far as I can ascertain. But ultimately speaking...
Heard my name?
I said you'd give props to Neil on account of the fact that he was saying... I've forgotten what now. I can't remember. Spherical triangles. Spherical triangles are a oxymoron.
Spherical trigonometry is an oxymoron. Somebody said no?
Adam.
Because
Get him.
Trigonometry exists? Yes. Yeah, they stated it exists. Spherical trig. They also state that married bachelors. Does that exist? It's a name.
Right. And don't forget the conservation of stationary momentum.
Yeah,
that got a lot of laughs
that
in the comments. Okay. Any more QE? Because I've got Brian's presentation up, if not.
I just want to establish, even though there is something called spherical trigonometry, it's an oxymoron. Trigonometry is the study of triangles. There are no spherical triangles. Somebody wants to show me one, please. The floor is yours.
What they do is they take points from a right angle they have created at their center of their sphere. So there is no spherical triangles. That's exactly true. They take points from the center. It's angles from a right angle position. That's what spherical trigonometry. That's what it is. It's angles it's triangles from a center point.
Yes.
Meeting points on the outside of a sphere.
Yes. Bev, Try Thinking, broke this down beautifully about a week ago on one of his shows, and he's basically showing a sphere with three 90-degree angles meeting at the center, so like a section cut out of it, so that you've got a Euclidean plane, like your equatorial plane, at the center, and then you're measuring your angles out to the spherical surface. Shout out to Bev Try Thinking. Right, Brian.
We've been talking about that for ages. It's the ECEF system. It's the same thing. That's what they use.
I know. I realise.
Yeah.
Okay. What I get told is Bev slags us off. I'll just be upfront about this. I'm going to do the total opposite. And when he does things that we do, I'm going to say, good on you. Fantastic. Great that there's an overlap, parallel, whatever you want to call it. As opposed to say, well, I don't know if I agree with that way of Bev's pointing it out, which is what I get told he does. Now, coincidentally, I never actually see him doing any of those things. Not that I want to, or care if I did. I'd probably just turn it off. But ultimately speaking, I want to commend him for a job well done when there's a job well done. That's all I'm doing. Brian, third time's a charm. You got your presentation.
Yeah, Adam is presenting there.
I'm not disagreeing with anyone. Like I said, this is about calculating points on a surface. You can use the word triangle. We all know it's not a triangle, but we do use trigonometry within it to calculate these points on a curved surface. That's by convention, you'd say spherical trig. I agree. It in of itself is an oxymoron, but it is a term. It is a field where we're talking about how we deal with balls. So it's not like it doesn't exist, but like I said, fundamentally, this got nothing to do with celestial navigation, as demonstrated by that gent that tried to use this form of trying to calculate stuff. Instead of sticking what your calculations on a ball, trying to calculate it on a ball was demonstrated how difficult, I think, was his impractical it was. It's very complicated, and you're still using straight lines and pi to calculate everything here. But
hold on. Don't scroll. Got an issue straight away. Right, see that diagram on the right hand side?
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on? Something just appeared over it, ruining my point. That's right. What's with those square boxes? What are they? See them?
Yeah, they're not right angles.
What's that? What's that all about?
Well, they will be 90 degrees, you see. So there you've got a 270 degree shape. And then this is the point, because we're not dealing with 2D geometry. It is naughty. And this is why I'll stand up for the phrase that it's this misuse of what's going off here.
Well, we kind of are dealing with 2D geometry. We're dealing with planar geometry, and all they do is they find the points on the surface of the sphere, whatever size sphere that they're working with, from the internals of it, and then you just draw lines along the surface from point to point. So there is no triangle made.
Hold on, Brian. I'm really sorry to do this.
It's flat plane geometry.
Hold on. Just try that again, because I got two answers. Right, Adam, you're the mathematician here, and you're defending this. I'm sorry it falls upon you. Right, you said they are 90, and then you gave a calculation for a greater than a non-triangle calculation. Okay, fine. No, just hear me out.
Yeah.
Right. Those lines, I'm just going to draw them for the audience what I'm talking about. Those are bent lines, aren't they?
Yeah, the great circle roots. This is the way in which they're expressed is not how you express a standard angle. This is an intersection of two great circles on the sphere.
Okay, I'll accept that. I'll just ask again. So what's this? This two curved / great circle roots meeting or converging at a single point. Right, that's not an angle at all. Those are two curved lines meeting. Why is there a box here? What's that all about?
The box is to show that that's just a 90-degree intersection.
You've done it again. Right. What is a 90-degree, Andrew? What's a 90-degree?
That's a right angle.
So what comprises that?
Yeah, well, this is the point.
What comprises that right angle? Don't just tell me this is the point. It's two straight lines, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this a straight line? Is this a straight line?
You can't have a straight line. You can't have a straight line on the surface of the sphere.
I'm leading you, Adam. I know you've found yourself defending this position. This is beautiful watching you squirm, though. I love it. So, should we not mention 90 then?
You certainly can't compare the how we're discussing these angles of intersection of great circle routes with anything
Angles.
to do with,
Sorry, did you say angles again?
Yeah. Yeah, because you can describe the way, the point of intersection of the angle. It's not.
Sorry, at that point intersection.
Not,
Sorry, Adam. I hate to do this to you. You're such a good
no,
friend.
keep going. It's good.
So, point of intersection being two straight lines to be an angle. That's this, right? These two great circle
No, because it's
routes.
on a sphere, so they can't be straight.
So again, we're back to the original question. Should we just not talk about this? This 90 that's marked on here.
Well, the final point is it's not a triangle. We can express these points of intersection, but we haven't got a triangle. What we've got now is 3 points of intersection with great circles.
Points of intersection.
Why you've got this misnomer of 270 degrees, as if putting these 3 points of great circle intersection.
Whoa. Hold on a second. 270 what?
Degrees.
What are they? What are they? Hold on. That sounds like an angle to me. That sounds like a combination of 3 straight line meeting at a vertex points called angles measured added up together, doesn't it? That 200 and what did you say it was? I've never ever had Adam over a mathematical point in my entire time of knowing him ever. This is the best moment of my life.
You're welcome.
Hey, can I help?
No, don't steal this moment. Adam's a mathematician. I'm a grunt. I can't believe this is happening. Don't steal this from me. How dare you? Thank you, QE.
What do I need to do? I need to.
I'll summarise for you. It's no worries. So you said it was the combination of 270 degrees. That's a beautiful sigh, that right there. Arwin's task seems a lot more humble now as Baldwin, doesn't it, Adam?
Well, no, because I'm trying to be honest. I'm not trying to confuse. So I'm trying to be the way in which we're going to express these intersections when we're talking about things, great circles on a triangle, is we're going to use degrees still to define how.
That's wrong, isn't it? Well, QE. Yeah, you're right then. That's wrong then, isn't it?
In terms
it's a difference. There's a difference.
Don't help him. Don't help him.
Yeah, this is the point I'm trying to make. The difference is what the convention we're using in 3D stuff as opposed to what the convention is in 2D. Now, an elevation angle is a 2D angle. It requires straight lines. What we're doing here in this spherical trig is expressing the relationships of the great circles on this surface with the degrees. So the way in which they're orientated to each other.
I see. But so what you're saying is
these points. Let me just finish it. These points of intersections, if we take 3 great circles like this, will generate these expression of how the circles interrupt. And this is the conflation that to try and pretend that these things constitute a triangle fundamentally from geometry, as I keep saying. Look at what the angles add up to. By definition, that is not a triangle in just degrees. What you're adding up, most fundamentally, it's on a curved surface, so it can't be a triangle. Yeah, but
okay. So from a Socratic point of view, I have to redefine the terms of what an angle is in order to accept this.
No, you have to state that we're going into spherical trigonometry, so we're going to use the same word with a slightly different interpretation because you've got curved lines, that we're going to use the term degrees to express how these great circle routes line up in relation to each other. It's a very different use of the word compared to 2D, how we actually measure an angle. These aren't...
No, that's not true either. Within this spherical trigonometry, you've got Euclidean being utilised, though, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So, hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong. At that point, it becomes an equivocation fallacy, then, doesn't it? Because you've got 2 different terminologies for what is and isn't an angle being used within the context and framework of the same description. So you've got a Euclidean 90 degree at the centre of a sphere to give you the angle measurements out to the surface, and you've also got these spherical triangles being used with degrees and angles in the description with a totally different terminology for what that means. That's an equivocation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't defend that. That's my best understanding that I've given there. So I couldn't defend it anymore. I couldn't. But that's always how I've comprehended it.
This is how weak their arguments are, Adam, right? I am, in maths terms, and plenty of people take the piss out of my foibles and follies when it comes to mathematical errors, right? I'm not the best when it comes to maths. I'll be the first to admit it. I, a total grunt, have just had a highly educated and skilled mathematician over a barrel with this. I'm a grunt. Yeah. What does that say? It says that even a skilled mathematician can't get around this when presented it by a grunt who doesn't even know anything about maths. That's how crap your sphere arguments are.
All it is a series of angles that come out to the outside of circles, and they use a series of circles. That's all it is. It's a series of intersecting circles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're using angles from a right angle position. And that's all it is. And it's like little tiny segments. That's how they work. That's how it's worked. So it's all planar geometry. All of it.
I'd like to thank QE, my mother, the Academy, mostly QE. Go on. Sorry, John.
Prosecution, Russ.
Go on, John. You can have the last word to John in G+.
Oh, no. I don't want to defend this stuff if it's a live show.
Come on, I want to hear this defense now, because I was straight. That's the best I could answer it, John. Yeah.
I want to present that thing.
Well, it's the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic when you're talking about mathematics, and that needs to be defined before you discuss spherical trigonometry, because you'll be taking and treating the outside of that sphere as a flat surface, as a two-dimensional surface. That's how you get the angles in that spherical trig.
Yeah. Right, so it's an equivocation. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams for... No, we're at the middle of the live show. In the middle of the live show, rounding out for a Premiering stream, my bad. Stay tuned if you are watching on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Shout out to Cynthia O'Hare, who smashed the super chat just before the live stream ended, although technically she didn't because I'm shouting it out while we're still live. All ballers tag in McToon on FB debates. Pathetic. He never shows up, does he? ? Please pick a better baller. We're tired of him boring. He knows the earth is flat. He's all but given up. Flat Earth is truth. Thank you again very much indeed, Cynthia O'Hare, for smashing the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream.